All right, well, we're all set up now. Hi, my name's Matt Onesti. I like long strolls on the beach. And anything Robert Frost has written. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was my video shoot for ChristianMingle.com.
Tom said, my name is Matt Onesti, and I have the tendency to do a majority of my act from the point of view of a handicapped person.
No, listen. I know the job of a comedian is to earn the trust of the audience right off the bat, but I just don't want to do that. I want to make it so you never trust a comedian ever again. Actually, so you never trust a person ever again. The only way I can do that is by one thing only. So give me a second to stop doing prop comedy and let me get out of this wheelchair. How betrayed would each and every one of you feel if I just up and got out of my chair like nothing happened? First of all, I had so much explaining to do to my family. Just 20 years of the greatest performance arts piece ever. All the medical bills, all the surgeries. I never would actually have surgery. I would just go into the operating room and play rummy with the doctors using insurance money.
Youngstown's own, get ready to feel uncomfortable, Matt Onesti!
What's going on, everybody? How we doing? There we go. That's what I want to hear. That's everything I've ever wanted to hear. God, you guys, this is incredible. Holy shit. Wow, there's a lot of you here tonight. This is insane. Why? You can literally be anywhere in this world right now, but you're here for some reason. Give yourself a round of applause for that, please. Give yourself a round of applause. And also, there's actually one more huge round of applause that's in order for tonight because there's some very special people behind the scenes who are making this possible. So if everybody could, I would love for everyone to give a giant round of applause for the special effects department here for the comedy special taping. Come on, big round of applause for the special effects department that we hired. They did all of this. They did all of this within the afternoon. It's crazy. I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I'm actually a 6'5" black guy. Yeah. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I swear. But that is what I put on my. That is what I put on all my online dating apps. Yeah, I do. I put that on all of my on things, and I'm just doing that because I'm trying to drive traffic to my erotic webcam performances. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can also tell by looking at me, but I am an erotic webcam performer. That's right, I am. I have to, comedy's not really going well for me. I have to strip for strangers. Yeah, I have to get naked on cam. Well, actually, let me take that back. You all seem kind of worried. My shows aren't that risque. It's mostly just me struggling to take my shirt off for like 15 to 20 minutes, just really trying my damnedest to get it off. And I could just never quite get it, and then I inevitably give up, and have to call for help. By the time someone finally does get to me, to help, my audience, they've already come and gone, they came and went, oh, that's upsetting. No, don't laugh at it. Do you want to know the name of my erotic webcam channel for when you guys go? Yeah, I saw a lot of drastic yeses for. It's called Help I've Fallen and I Can't Get Off. Stop! Don't laugh. It's not fair. It's not right. It is so gross that I get to just rely so heavily on disabled jokes. It is just so shitty of me as a human. That's not cool. It's great. Seriously, it's not fair to the other comedians and to you guys as an audience that I get to use my disability as a crutch for cheap laughs and parlor jokes. This is the biggest night of my life, and that's what I'm going to come at. No, I don't like this. I want to do something to I want to do something to make this better, because you guys deserve better. The comedy special deserves better, and we're gonna do something to make this better. But I'm actually gonna need some help with this. Ma'am, can you come up on stage real quick and help me out with something? Come on, get her up here. Give her a big round of applause. Come on, push her up. Push her up here. Come on, lady. Come on, ma'am. Get him up here. Give him a big round of applause. You're ruining the show. You are ruining the show by being assholes. Come on, ma'am in the green. This entire crowd's gonna keep applauding for you so you don't get up on the stage. Come on, I'll be nice to you. Come on, get on up here. We all love you. Yeah, there we go. My God. What's your name, ma'am? What's your name? Dee Dee. Give it up for Dee Dee, everybody. That is a brave soul. That is a brave. Well, I'm going to be nice to you, I promise. I'm going to be nice to you, I promise. But I saw you agreeing with me when when I was saying it's not fair that I get to rely on these handicap jokes, and I'm with you. But before I ask you to help me, I got to ask you a couple questions, okay? So first off, have you ever come across a faith healer in your days? Have you ever seen a faith healer maybe on television, on the internet? Are you familiar with the Pat Robertsons, the Billy Grahams of the world? Kind of slightly, but you know what they're kind of about. Okay, that's fair. So the second thing is, they say that the media is very influential. You're highly likely to impersonate the things that you see. So have you ever tried to faith heal somebody on the street before? Have you ever seen somebody on the street ever try to faith heal them? No? Okay. Well, here's the thing, Dee Dee. There is a first time for everything. There is a first time for everything. Dee Dee, here's what we're going to have to do, because I promised my entire family a miracle. We brought all these cameras here, and I'm going to ask you, I need your help faith healing me right here and right now. You going to do that for me? I don't care if you're not, because you're gonna do it. Give Dee Dee a round of applause. All right. Now, Dee Dee, I'm gonna give you the microphone, okay? I need you to follow my instructions. I'm gonna give you some lines. I'm gonna give you some things you need to do. You need to follow them to a T, okay? My family already got rid of all the ramps at the house. They're expecting me to walk home tonight, all right? So don't let them down, all right? I'm gonna give you the microphone. I'm gonna hand it over to you. You take it. There you go. All right, I want you to assume a stance. I want you to assume your faith healing stance. That's perfect. That is perfect. All right. I want you to start off by saying, Satan be gone. Come on, Satan be gone.
Satan be gone.
Louder, Satan be gone.
Satan be gone.
Go away, you foul spirit.
Go away, you foul spirit.
Come on, louder.
Go away, you foul spirit.
Come on, Satan be gone.
Satan be gone.
Now hit me. Now hit me. I feel it. Hit me. Oh, God. Oh. One more time. One more. I feel the Lord in my veins. Oh, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Oh, God, give me the mic. Oh, give me. You are the worst faith healer ever. Get off the stage, Dee Dee. Get off the stage. Jesus Christ. Oh, my God. Give it. I did. Give it up for Dee Dee. Give it up for Dee Dee one more time. The worst goddamn faith healer I have ever. No, I love you, Dee Dee. I love you, man. I'll never ask for that ever again. That fucking sucked. I was ready to sprint on out of here. That was. Now I get that was a little weird. I get that was a little uncomfortable, and I know that was probably the first time that has ever happened for a lot of you. I know you probably have never seen something like that before, but I promise that's actually not the first time that's ever happened to me. And I don't just mean that's not the first time I've ever done that joke. I genuinely mean, like, when you're disabled, people try and faith heal you constantly. That is something I have to fight off people trying to faith heal me all the time. Okay. When I was in high school, I was in a summer gym class, and my gym teacher, she corners me in between a hot yoga session and CrossFit. Not to molest me or anything, but to do what Dee Dee was so shitty at doing. I love you, Dee Dee. Now, I almost wish I almost wish my gym teacher would have went with the other option. It would have been way less awkward for all of us. You know what I mean? It would have been way less weird. But she comes up to me and she goes, Matt, do you ever wish that you could be out there with your friends? Do you ever wish you could be out there with your friends doing CrossFit? And, no, but I was like, I don't know. I don't really think about it, and it doesn't really bother me. She goes, well, have you ever tried to do anything about it? Which now sounds like she's kind of mocking me a little bit, but I was like, I just kept going along. I was like, well, I guess, I've had surgeries and I've gone to doctors and taken pills. No, that's not what I mean. Like, have you ever tried to pray before? Like, that was the thing we were missing. Like, that was just the one thing everybody just forgot about. And then I was like, my family has, I guess, but I really haven't. She goes, well, I'd like to do something with you real quick, and I'd like to pray with you. And then she grabs my hand. And I'm going to be honest with all of you here. I'm not going to tell her to stop. I'm not going to tell her no. Like, why? What's the worst thing that can happen? What's the worst? There's no, literally best case scenario, it works. Literally best case scenario, it works. I hop up out of my chair and, start doing parkour. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work. She completely loses her faith in Christ, goes home, gulps down a bottle of painkillers, and, burns a statue of Mother Mary. That is worst case scenario. And as you can see by looking at me, she didn't kill herself. That didn't happen. Jesus, did she try though? Oh man, she went for it. God, she went. She was praying hard. She grabbed my hand. She started going for it. She started saying, please God, give this boy some legs or something. I don't remember. I was being religiously accosted. It was a blur. I don't really know what happened. Did that work? Did that work for her at some point, earlier in her life, but maybe for something super inconsequential? Have you ever had a really dark spot on your leg or on your arm, and then you look at it and your initial reaction is to go, oh, please God, don't let that be cancer. Oh God, don't. Please God, don't I'll give up all my material possessions. I'll stop being an asshole. I'll go to church. Just don't let me die of cancer. And then you move, it falls off. Turns out it was just an olive. Turns out it was just an olive. But God answered your prayers. So now you're the dick. Now you're the asshole who's a debt to God. So then that happened, and then when she looked at me from across the gymnasium, she was just like, oh, fuck it. It's worked before. Let's go for 2 for 2. And then she just power walked over to me with the Holy Spirit in her back pocket. I'm happy it didn't work. I am, seriously, I'm happy it didn't work. Because I'd have to literally rewrite 90% of my act. That would have sucked. I don't want to start over from scratch. That's terrible. It's too late in the game. But seriously, that's actually a question I get a lot. It's a question I get all the time. I'm always asked, Matt, do you ever wish that you were born without your disability? Do you ever wish that you were able to walk your entire life? And my answer to that question every single time is no. I wouldn't want it any other way. Seriously, I wouldn't want it any other way because the person I am now, right here in this moment, is because of everything that I've gone through, because of disability. Don't clap. I'm a piece of shit. Don't clap at that. I'm a turd. Don't do that. And seriously, I wouldn't, because without my disability, I don't get to experience any of the things I've gotten to experience. I never become a comedian. If I'm not disabled, I am not here in this moment right now with all of you fine people. And I wouldn't want to live in that world, And I know I don't become a comedian because I never get the chance to play Challenger Baseball. Yeah, and Challenger Baseball is the greatest. Do you guys know what Challenger Baseball is? Does anybody here know it? Probably, yeah, okay. For those of you who don't know what Challenger Baseball is a subdivision of the Little League Baseball Association, specifically meant for people with physical and mental disabilities. So it's a baseball league for the handicapped. It is incredible. It is an absolute madhouse. It is one of the best. Have you guys ever been? Has anybody ever been to a Challenger baseball game? Yeah. Okay. We got a couple people in fantasy leagues here tonight. That's awesome. They're all in the. You guys are going around taking action on the disabled. That's what I like to hear. I bet on us all the time. I was like the Pete Rose of Challenger baseball. They throwing games, betting on the teams. They kicked me out. I'm not allowed in the Hall of Fame. ESPN made a documentary about it. Just look it up. But without Challenger baseball, I never become a comedian, because the first time I ever got a laugh at an incredibly offensive joke was from right field of a Challenger baseball game. Yeah. And I understand that right field of a Challenger baseball game is probably not the best place to be trying out your crass material, but here's what happened. This is about 10 years ago. This was 13-year-old Matt. Okay, this is 10 years ago. It was 13-year-old Matt. This is the dog days of summer. There I am, chilling out in right field. Because that's where they put the kids in wheelchairs. They put the kids in wheelchairs in right field. I mean, we're of no use playing the infield. We're not fielding grounders. That's not ever going to work out for anybody. We just sit there and we take line drives right to the dome. It's not good. We don't want to add concussions onto the laundry list of disability these kids already have. So for safety precaution, they throw us out in the outfield. And it's awesome. You get to relax. You know, balls rarely ever get out there. It's awesome. You just get to mind your own business. But there I am, hanging out in right field, having a good time, and from the bleachers, I hear my mom yell out to me. She goes, Matt, did you hear Michael Jackson died? Which, okay, there's two things about that. There's two things you should unpack there. One, perfectly normal for full-fledged conversations to happen from the parents in the bleachers to the guy on second base. That part wasn't out of the ordinary. The other thing that I said, maybe not the right time to break that news to me. Maybe wait until the game is over and we're home to tell me that the king of pop has died. But that's not what happened. So my mom yells out to me. She goes, Matt, did you hear Michael Jackson died? And my immediate reaction, my instincts kick in. And I just go, whew. Well, I guess I can finally let my guard down. And a laugh just like that I heard in the back of the room. I heard one of the dads absolutely going wild. And all I heard was, that boy's not afraid of being molested no more. He was right. He was correct. It was awesome. It was my first audience interaction. I got my first, adrenaline rush from a laugh at an incredibly dark joke. It was beautiful. I wanted to chase that. I became a comedian about a year and a half later, and I haven't looked back since. Because I realized that I loved being uncomfortable. I realized that when I'm put in an uncomfortable situation, I thrive creatively. I do. I feel like I thrive creatively when I'm in uncomfortable situations. I try and get myself into as many uncomfortable situations as I can, possibly find. Like, I've been going to a lot more funerals lately. I have. I've been really hitting the funeral circuit as hard as I can, really getting around there, making my... I hate funerals. And I get everybody hates funerals. No, I don't care. I'm not worried about the dead person. They have the easy part of the night. They just get to hang out. They don't have to be a part of whatever the awkward encounter is that everyone else in the parlor is having, where there's just a dead body lying there. Like, they get off scot-free. No, I'm, again, an asshole. I worry about the other stuff. Like, I've been a comedian. I've been a comedian for about 8 years now. So I've trained myself to react to every social gathering in the same exact way, in a super specific way that has me being upbeat, energetic, having a good time, life of the party. And that works in most situations. You know, weddings, birthday parties, you know. Can't come busting through the door at a funeral going, how's everybody doing tonight? Yeah. Because the answer is always, we're not doing good, Matt. We are not doing good. Uncle Jim is lying there after suffocating himself in the garage. Aunt Lily and the kids have been crying for days. The eldest boy tried to suffocate himself in the garage, but he didn't know you had to shut the garage door to make it work. But now he doesn't have a father to teach him those kind of things. So how should we be doing every time? Oh God, every single time it happens. We have a lot of Uncle Jims. Oh, it's really taken a toll on our family. I get it. That's too dark. That joke was way too dark, and I understand, and I'm sorry. But listen, I have a different view. I do have a very different perspective on death. You start to get a different perspective on death when you have near-death experiences. And that's something I've had a couple near-death experiences, and you either go one of two ways when you have a near-death experience. You either become fearful of every single day, that every day is going to be your last, and you don't even want to get out of bed, or someday, or, the other perspective is, you have to enjoy what you're doing right now in this moment, because the truth is the end could happen at any moment, so you might as well have as much fun as you possibly can. Luckily, that's the camp I ended up in, so I get to make these dirty fucking jokes to all of you crazy people. But here's how I know. Again, stop applauding. I'm a piece of shit. Don't do it. You're gonna regret it in the next couple of minutes, as always. In case you're wondering, if you ever wondered if you have a near-death experience, here's a good way to tell if you have a near-death experience. I knew I had a near-death experience because I had surgery, and after the surgery was over, the doctor comes out of the operating room. The first thing he says to my parents is, Mr. and Miss Onesti, I did everything I could in there, but it's in God's hands now. Yeah. If that's what the surgeon decides to say to you, it's game over, bud. It is all downhill from there. Just, and here's the thing, it sucks, because I feel like he has a lot more control than he's letting on. Like, that man was just elbow deep in my spine, using 21st century technology, and the best phrase he could muster to comfort my parents was essentially the same phrase Hulk Hogan had been saying all the way throughout the 80s to children. Just, Mr. and Miss Onesti, hope your boy's been saying his prayers and eating his vitamins. Hulkamania ran wild all over that spine. Dumb. You wouldn't accept that. You wouldn't accept that in any other profession. You wouldn't drop your car off at a mechanic. You go back, pick up your car. Mechanic comes out and says, Mr. Onesti, I did everything I could to those brakes. But it's in God's hands now. You're not going to drive that fucking car. You're going to leave a bad Yelp review. That's what you're going to do. You can't leave bad Yelp reviews for surgeons. That's not how it works. No, I wouldn't leave a bad Yelp review. The dude legitimately saved my life. And here's the thing. I actually wasn't worried about death going into surgery. That wasn't the thing that I was most worried about. Here's what I was worried about. I was worried that as soon as they put me under anesthesia, that all of the doctors in the room would start pissing on me. Swear to God, it's disgusting, I'm sorry, but it was a genuine fear that I had. And I guess I feel that way because I know that if I was a surgeon, I would do it constantly. I would do it constantly, every chance I got. Oh, man. And it's not to be mean. I'm not doing it I'm not doing it out of spite. It's more of like a territorial thing. You know, letting the surgeon know, hey, Jack, back off. This is my hip replacement. You know, it's sanitary. I don't know how any of this works. I don't know. I don't know. I've gotten so far off track. I was talking about something, and then I wound up giving you guys some weird R. Kelly fetish that I didn't know I had. I don't know where all that came from, but I apologize. I was thinking, you're probably thinking, hey, Matt, you should probably cut back on the drinking there, bud. And you're about half right. You're about half right on that. I really don't drink a lot. I mean, again, like I said, I smoke a shit ton of weed, but I don't, you know, it's fine. We all do. I actually don't, I don't drink a lot. Like, I have yet to get blackout drunk. It's something I've yet to have happen to me. And I'm worried about the time for when I do finally become that outrageously hammered, that stairs will suddenly become a good idea to me. And they're never a good idea, you know. Find the nearest staircase and turn into a shitty backyard wrestler. That's not what we want to see happen to Matt. The other reason I'm vigilant about my drinking is, and this is a fact in Ohio, I can get a DUI in my wheelchair. Yeah, I can get a DUI in my wheelchair. I don't know why everyone here isn't standing and applauding, because yeah. That's like a life goal of mine. I want nothing more to happen to me in my life than for a cop to pull me over on the side of the road as if I were a car. Just, son, have you been drinking tonight? I'm gonna need you to step out of the vehicle. Somebody should do something about that. I don't know. Maybe we should change the legislation. I don't know how that works. You know, there's always an expectation for me to do something more than myself. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know if I want that responsibility. Seriously, I don't know, especially when I'm on stage performing comedy, I don't know if I want to do anything more than just telling jokes, you know, because I'm scared that I'm just going to talk to one group. I'm scared that I'm just going to talk to the disabled community. And I don't want to do that. I want to talk to more than just the disabled community. There's so many groups out here fighting for their own injustices, and we all deserve the same amount of respect. And I don't want to just speak to one side. I want to help as many people as possible. Like, okay, here's the best way that I can explain this. There have been 1,000 protests, thousands of protests in the past 2 years. But I can imagine you can probably only name protests that are near and dear to your heart. You know, protests that have some sort of personal connection to you, or something that, you know, that you're more aware of. And I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing, because I'm with you. I feel the same exact, because I can only tell you with 100% clarity about a protest that happened 2 years ago, when the protesters of ADAPT, the disabled protesters of ADAPT, stormed Mitch McConnell's office. Does anyone here remember that? The one disabled person, yeah, this is my point exactly. The people who know me and know this is something that's near and dear to your heart. But for those of you who don't know what happened in this protest 2 years ago, the disabled protesters of ADAPT stormed Mitch McConnell's office for Medicaid. And, you know, I don't know if you guys know this, but it takes the disabled community a lot to do anything, let alone storm Mitch McConnell's office. Things are going shitty if that's what we're doing. But like any good protest, you know, the police got involved. And when the police got involved, they did this thing where they started ripping people out of their wheelchairs and dragging them on the front lawns of the Senate office buildings. Yeah, that's crazy. That's something my middle school bully once threatened to do to me. You know, but at least he had the decency to never follow through. Because as we all know, middle school bullies have a higher ethical standard than the Washington, D.C. PD. So, yeah, there we go. Give it up for middle school bullies. Give it up for the middle school bullies of the world. It's all the ethics training they have to go to before becoming a middle school bully. It's kind of hard. But it's crazy to me. How do you lose control of a group of disabled protesters whose main weaknesses are stairs and off buttons? That's it. We're causing a ruckus. All you gotta do is come in and flip a switch. Target neutralized immediately. You don't have to. Why beat us? Why? And I guess that's what we get for asking for equality, right? I guess that's what we get. If that's what equality means, if equality means getting beat over the head with a billy club like everyone else, then I'm all for inequality. Oh, God. Claps for inequality. There we go. Like, I should be able to get out of any drug rap just by pointing to myself. Seriously, if I get caught with weed, I should just be able to point to this and go, officer, this is why. This is what we have going on. Which, by the way, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Swear to God, it doesn't work. I got caught with weed. I had to go in front of a judge. The judge asked me, he goes, well, I bet you have some extenuating circumstances on why you smoke weed, but the law is the law. You can't break it. And I was like, oh, you're right, Your Honor. I don't have any hips. Well, apparently, and as some of you think, he thought I was being facetious and was like, oh, this isn't a time to be funny, and then proceeded to sentence me to 30 days of community service digging ditches. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't actually digging ditches, but they used me as a wheelbarrow. That was... No, that didn't happen. But see what happened there? I'm just talking about one group. I got to the point where I'm just talking about literally inequality for just the disabled community. That's not what we should be doing up here. And that's the hard part about comedy is I find myself bastardizing things almost constantly. If I start to say something serious, it is immediately met with a dick joke or some form of crazy bastardization that ruins my point completely. So I want to stay far away from it. I'd rather talk about the other fun parts of a protest, besides the sheer brutality. Like my favorite part about a protest besides the sheer brutality are the chants. Yeah. Seriously, as a writer, the chants are one of my favorite part. But also as a writer, I get depressed by the idea that after a protest is over, you can never use that chant ever again. Like, hey, LBJ, how many kids you killed today? It's one of the most iconic chants in American political history. But there's no recyclability to it. You can't use, hey, LBJ, how many kids you killed today ever again. I mean, unless, of course, LeBron James starts murdering children. Oh, he'd be good at it. Oh, he'd be the best. Oh, God, LeBron could put up 17 in a night with his eyes closed. Listen, if I'm going to be doing research into something, if I'm going to be doing research into shit to bring up on stage for you guys to laugh at, I'd rather do it for something ridiculous. I don't want to do it on a policy. I don't want to do it on some social issue. Like, have you ever thought about what people in the 1500s jerked off to? Have you ever thought about that? Have you ever thought about people? I've never done extensive research on it. I've really put a lot of time into it. I figure that's why we have romance novels today. Right? Doesn't that make sense? And why we have romance? Because think about it like this, in the 1500s, there's no TV, there's no internet, there's no syndicated magazines. It's too expensive to put pictures on paper. There's no radio. I mean, you don't really jerk off to radio, but maybe you're into Orson Welles. We're not gonna judge you. It's okay. Can't say I haven't done it. All they had was written word. Henceforth, that's why we have romance novels. Doesn't that make sense? Doesn't that make sense? Here, in case you're having trouble visualizing it, let me really paint a vivid picture for all of you right here, right now. I like to imagine some guy somewhere in the middle of the Ohio Territory, inside of a log cabin that he built himself, sitting on an armchair that he also most likely built, surrounded by candles, pants down around his ankles, reading a passage from his favorite romance novel as the woman subtly touches the man's six-pack and the man caresses the woman's milky breasts, and he's just sitting there oh yeah, give me another adjective. Give me another adjective. Oh, God, look at that noun. Oh, no. Oh, God, it's a subject-verb agreement. And then he, right after the predicate, just all over the page. That's how he knows which page he left off on. And that was the beginning of bookmarks. Yes. I did my research, and this is what I want you guys to come away with. You're going to learn something, just not something that's socially constructive. No, listen. If there's one thing, we're going to wrap this in. If there's one thing you guys take from my act tonight, it's the idea that it's okay to be uncomfortable. The idea that it's okay to be uncomfortable, by people you may not be used to, situations you may not be used to, places, whatever it is. It's a natural human response to things that, again, we're not around often. And that's okay. That's a good thing. Use those experiences, use those feelings to ask questions, to learn. It's the only way that we can grow as people, by talking to someone that may have ideas or something that make us feel uncomfortable. But be honest with yourself, because you may find out that you're uncomfortable by a group that you're even a part of. And I'm going to be honest with you guys right here, right now. I feel like I've been trying to be as honest as humanly possible with all of you tonight, and I'm going to say something, and I promise it's not a shock laugh. I'm purposely stepping on the line right now because I don't want it to be a shock laugh. I am uncomfortable by the disabled community, and I realized that the first time a girl in a wheelchair started hitting on me, because I realized in that moment, I can never be sexually attracted to another person in a wheelchair. Yeah. And I guess that's hard to say and it's hard to hear because, how can I ever expect someone to be attracted to me when I can't be attracted to someone like me? But it's a little more complicated than that because I'm not sure how us... I know. Listen, I need help putting on shirts and shoes, opening up bottles of water. I can only imagine she's going through the same dilemma I'm going through. So again, I'm not sure how us, doing the dirty would work. I feel like we'd have to get nurses involved. But how many nurses do we get involved? One's not enough for 2 grown adults. What happens? I get a male nurse, she gets a female nurse. The nurses have to be attracted to each other. Do the nurses have to be attracted to us? Do the nurses have to be attractive in general? Like if the male nurse looks like Butterbean and the female nurse also looks like Butterbean, gotta throw everything off. Do they have to get involved if they see we're not doing it right? Are they fully clothed or are they naked also? Both options seem awful. Both options seem equally terrible. What happens if it's taking too long to transfer one of us from the wheelchair to the bed? Does the nurse then have to act as a fluffer with a bachelor's degree? It's ridiculous. I have to start a small business every time I want some action. And I just don't have the money for those kind of team building exercises. Hey, my name's Matt Onesti. I love you all. I love you all so much. You have no idea how much this means. Thank you all. Have an incredible day.
dress and no